The daycare teacher said my husband picked our daughter up early twice a week. I just found out what he was doing with her. I stared at her in total confusion because he never got home with our daughter before 5:30. Are you sure? I asked. The teacher pulled out her attendance log and showed me 8 weeks of hiccups I knew nothing about. I left the daycare and sat in my car Googling Chris's office number, calling his department directly. His coworker laughed when I asked for Chris, saying he'd only worked mornings on Tuesdays and Thursdays for months. I called in sick to work and drove home and searched through his things, finding receipts from stores I didn't recognize, charges at restaurants during times he was supposedly at work, Tuesday lunch at Chuck E. Cheese, Thursday afternoon at Build-A-Bear, places you take a child. Sophie had been singing this song lately about Mama Jess and baby brother that I thought was from cartoons. I recognized the street name from Chris's company directory as where Jessica lived, the new marketing manager. When Chris got home, I had everything spread across the kitchen table and told him I knew about the pickups. He didn't even try to deny it, just sat down and admitted he'd been taking Sophie to Jessica's apartment twice a week for 2 months. While I thought our daughter was at daycare, she'd been at another woman's home playing house. Jessica had set up a pink bedroom just for Sophie, bought her clothes and toys, been teaching our 3-year-old to call her Mama Jess. But it was worse than an affair because Jessica was 4 months pregnant with Chris's baby. The timing made me sick because 4 months ago, I was in the middle of IVF treatments that we'd spent $20,000 on. He'd watched me inject myself with hormones every morning, held my hand through the egg retrievals, comforted me through 3 failed cycles, all while his girlfriend was already pregnant. They'd been using Sophie as practice for their new family, and our daughter had been helping them decorate a nursery, picking out dinosaur wallpaper for her baby brother's room. Chris showed me photos on his phone of Sophie at Jessica's apartment, eating lunch Jessica made, napping in the pink bed, playing with toys I'd never seen. 32 days over 2 months where my daughter was bonding with my replacement while I worked to support us. They'd enrolled Sophie in a Montessori school near Jessica's apartment without telling me, had toured it together like a real family. Jessica's lease was up next month, and they'd already put an offer on a house with a room for Sophie, a nursery for the baby, and a master bedroom for them. Sophie asked if she could live there, Chris said. She wants to be with the baby. The cruelty of turning my daughter against me by giving her a sibling through another woman was breathtaking. While I'd been crying over negative pregnancy tests, Jessica was taking Sophie to her prenatal appointments, letting her hear the baby's heartbeat, making her an accomplice in this betrayal. Chris pulled out a folder with emails to a divorce lawyer from 3 weeks ago, where he'd been asking about custody and establishing Jessica as an existing caregiver. The Tuesday-Thursday pattern wasn't random, but strategic documentation for court. Every pickup had been logged, every receipt saved, every photo timestamped to show Jessica as a consistent maternal presence in Sophie's life. She's a better mother than you, Chris said flatly. Sophie doesn't have tantrums with her, actually eats vegetables, goes to bed without crying. Every normal parenting struggle I'd ever had was being weaponized against me. My own mother had known for a month because Chris had needed someone to help with pickups when he had real meetings. She'd been dropping Sophie at Jessica's apartment, had met the woman replacing me, had seen the nursery being built for the grandchild that wasn't mine. Your mom agrees this is best, Chris said. Sophie needs stability. 2 parents, a sibling, not whatever this is. He gestured around our small rental house like it was proof of my failure. The papers I'd signed last month thinking they were for his insurance had actually been removing me from our car loans, our joint accounts, everything except the credit card debt. They'd planned this takeover of my life so carefully that Sophie now cried when she had to leave Jessica's house, asked when she could go back to the pink room, wanted Mama Jess to read her bedtime stories instead of me. I told him he couldn't just steal our daughter, but we both knew he'd already been doing exactly that for months. Chris grabbed his keys and headed for the door, announcing he was staying at Jessica's tonight. Sophie's coming with me, he said casually. I just told your mom the jig's up, so she said she'll pick her up and bring her by Jessica's. My own mother was helping him, was in on this betrayal, delivering my daughter to another woman's arms. She agrees that Jessica's more stable, Chris said at the door. Sophie needs a real family with 2 parents and a sibling, not a broke single mother. Jessica's moving in next week. You should start looking for an apartment. Full story on the channel below.